Yo! Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. What's going on?
Yeah, you look fly and fresh at the same time.
You know, hold
Gee.
on, hold on. Don't get me hyped.
I love the yellow color. It's popping all the energies. It's crazy, man.
Let's go. Let's go. We're actually wearing yellow. You know what? I was excited. I'm like, it's Monday. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this. Let's inspire some people. That's what I do.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible. Thank you for joining me. This is
Yeah, man.
episode 26 on this crazy journey.
Nuts. Nuts.
Yeah, man. My morning routine is on fire now. Like you, I get up. I start with my gratitude. I start with my micro meditations. I don't know how to meditate yet, but
Hmm.
I do practice gratitude the first thing when I wake up, and it's as simple as like, man, I'm so happy to be alive and like get another day to do something that I love. Let's start with your morning routine because I feel like we're morning people. We're pumped. Where is that morning routine look like for you? Where's that energy come from?
Dude, honestly, my first thought in the morning when I wake up is I woke up and somebody in this big round world didn't. So
Oh.
I'm here. I'm here. Let's get something going because I opened my eyes. Like that's such a blessing. Like you opened your eyes and you saw a new day. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something like my grandma is like a huge inspiration of mine. So she wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every single day. Beast. And by the
Wow.
time I wake up at 6, she is like ready, primed, all
Ready
dolled
to
up. Like,
rock.
where are you going? You're 84. Where are you going?
I love her already. Please tell her I want to talk to her. It's so crazy. Uh, and the thing that we talk about in the show is about making money moves, but it's really not about the money. It's our relationship with money and the relationship with ourselves and how we sort of get past, our own hurdles. And when I started sort of going down this path of like sharing my story, the easy thing to talk about was like business strategies. You and I are in that world, and we know that I can give people 1,000 social strategies and business strategies. I can talk funnels out of my gears. But when I did all that, I'm like, okay, now what? I don't feel fulfilled. And then the people that I'm helping with, they can't execute because they haven't figured out why they should do things in life, right? And that's where this whole thing kind of started to go, okay, let me put some other stuff into the universe. Let's talk about your podcast, man. I'm new to this world. Congrats on getting 9,000 listeners. Walk us through sort of what your podcast is about. What do you talk about? What are some of the topics you hit up?
That podcast is my pride and joy. I started it 2 years ago, so my platform is 3 years old. And I started doing lives like this with everybody. Whoever wanted to go on live with me, I went on camera with them because I wanted to stop being scared of the camera.
Right.
So what happened is lives couldn't be saved. So my like community online kept going, man, you should start a podcast so then I can tune into you whenever and I can listen to these interviews. So thus Advice from Hannah show was born. Just out of what the audience was asking me for. Because
Right.
sometimes people ask for you to do something and I'm like, I know nothing tech. I nothing. I didn't even know how to hold a mic. So I got to talking with a couple of people and just like this, I got an artist to do my art cover. I got a custom beat because this is what we do. And
Nice.
yeah, it was so much fun. Like that creating it is my favorite thing, which is why I have seasons. I plugged in the season 1, episode 1, and I was like, this is your girl Advice from Hannah. And I've been flowing with it ever since. Right now we're on episode 76. I've been grateful enough to sit down with some people that I've admired forever. It has been a great networking tool, a great marketing tool, but best of all, I've seen how people have taken themselves from zero to like powerhouses, and I get it done in 30 minutes. Like I get the fast
Right.
note version of it. So it's
Huh.
yeah, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I like making noises as people talk. I just get excited. So finish your thought, girl.
I know, I get hype. I get hype. So yeah, it's been a journey. I've now it's crazy now because now I'm getting hit up on some hi Miss Hannah, and I was like, girls, stop. I'm like, why did Miss Hannah? What's happening? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm humbled to meet you. Get out of here. Sit over there. It's fine. I'm just a chick with a mic. It's nothing really.
It still trips me out, man. I get folks messaging me, Mr. Bala or Sir, and I'm like, look, it's not my dad's channel. It's my channel. You can call me Satsby. It's funny you said like fear of camera, yet you're doing one of the most hardest jobs, if I can use that word, which is sharing energy and advice to other people, which in today's world there's plenty of, and everything is scrutinized, and everybody's right and wrong, and they gauge us on our followers versus whatever. And somebody wanted to book me for speaking, and he's like, you just made the cut. You didn't have 5,000 followers. I'm like, so at 5,000, my message is more resonating than at 4,700. Doesn't make any sense. What is it about, the advice, the human connection, the empowering that got you hooked on this stuff? How
Well,
did you get into this path? Like, people don't share. Like, you know what I mean? People get up, they have a formula, they go to work, they get married, they have kids, and that's good. That's a great life for them. And
yeah.
then some of us decide to do this. So maybe like take me back to little Hannah that grew up into this advice giving, awesome Hannah. Where does the path come in?
Well, you know what? I really like that question. So I grew up on Weston Road. I always shout out Weston Road and everything that I do. And my mom growing up, so she was that person. So anybody that had an issue would come sit at my mom's table and cry. Like I never understood why they would cry. They would cry. My mom would feed them, tell them to go sleep on the couch. I always had a stray in my house. Like somebody was always sleeping there because they got kicked out. So, my mom was always that person listening. So I have this ear for listening. That's all I do. I really just listen, because you have two ears and one mouth, right? So people come to me naturally and they start telling me their problems. I don't know where Sats. I don't know. I'm sitting on the bus. La, 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 la. I'm like, oh wow, really? How does that make you feel? So why?
Yeah.
Why are you letting him do that? Like, and I'm just like this curiosity that I'm curious to know why you let these scenarios happen to you. So it really goes back to your childhood and what you've seen. Well, from what I know, what you've seen happening and what you've been conditioned to think that it's okay. So
Right.
because of that, so many people reach out to me. My DMs are always popping, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, everything, all day, all day. People talking to me and telling me their problems and their business ideas. But I'm going back to now BlackBerry days and the BBM Messenger. So I didn't know that all of this could happen. Okay. I had no idea. I was
Mm.
in college. I took a speaking with confidence course. I got a 98. The teacher was like, listen, Hannah, I really think you have a thing for the stage. And all my group projects, they would always pick me to speak. But I always thought it was just because of, I don't know. I'm like, whatever, it's because I'm not shy. I'm from the hood. Like I'm just like, yo, this is what we need to do. Like, it doesn't bother me to execute or to go in front of somebody and tell them exactly what I want. Because if you don't ask for what you want, you're never gonna get it. And
Right.
that's kind of like, and it sounds so simple, but it's super hard, right? Because there's limiting beliefs. And about 3 years ago, I was fed up, like fed up. I was sitting here, like I'm married, I have 2 degrees, I have this corporate job, whatever, blah. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, okay, but now what? What do I do?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't cool. My personal life was in turmoil. And I sat there on my bed and I needed something to like move my focus, to not think about like one of my very favorite people in the whole entire world being incarcerated. So, I had to do something to like take my mind away from lawyer, all of that. And I'm sitting on my bed and I'm just like, advice from Hannah. And I opened an Instagram page. That's literally what I did. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And I started sharing about how I feel inadequate, how society keeps blaming me for not wanting to have kids, how I'm so ambitious. And I hate the word ambition sometimes because I feel as though they're using it to kind of dim me, like, oh wow, you're so ambitious. Yeah, I'm ambitious. This is how I was bred to be. So what's the problem? I've always, yeah,
Mm.
it bothers. Oh my God, we could get into that. It bothers
Listen, I
me.
love it.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
Oh, I love
So,
ambition.
so one of the things that, it took me a while to deconstruct is like how much of my life was mine, or how much of it was handed down. And and it took a really long time, almost 15, 17 years of consciousness before I realized, oh man, this is not my blueprint. This is a blueprint from somebody else, and I'm continuously failing in that blueprint, but I don't know any other blueprint. So how could you let go of something when you don't know what you're gonna go into next? And I love what you said. These two of the hardest questions is like, Like, what do I want? And then if it's not what I have, now what? And those two questions take humans down a really interesting path if we even have the guts to ask it. And you're asking this stuff way early, like way early, you know what I mean? And coming out of it is this idea to advice, is to share. And I like the word advice, but I love the fact that it's more about empowering others to learn on their own, right? What are some of the early things you noticed when you went out there and said, okay, I'm going to share, right or wrong? What was the haters lineup like? What was some of the awesome stories like? Now you're on this path, Hannah. What's going on this path?
Well, first things first, anybody that knew me up to that point didn't understand what I was doing at all. So, because you have to understand, my friends are in Babyville right now and in Weddingville, and I'm here like sending 200 DM sets trying to get on stage. Like, I've sent DMs to everybody trying to get on stage, and
Wow.
and I was like, dude, I'm a speaker, and because I took the college experience, and like I can hype up a crowd, people love me, like, and I'm trying to get on stage. That is what I'm trying to do at 28, and nobody understands. Nobody, I'm crazy, midlife crisis. I'm like, I'm not even at midlife. How is this midlife crisis? So, anyways, and I'm doing all of this, and I'm getting, oh well, did you study psychology? I'm like, no, but I've been on the ground so damn much that I might as well like.
My life is my teacher.
And it was wild to just hear the, oh well, you don't know what you're doing, oh, you spelled this wrong, the graphic isn't centered, you stuttered on that word. And I'm like, whatever. I'm sitting there, and it took some time for me to go, are you doing this? Are you on camera? Are you in my
Wow.
shoes? Right? Because I'm working. I'm a workaholic. I'll be the first to say it. I love my job. I love work. I've been working since I was 14. So I dive myself into things when I'm really passionate about it. And I'm sitting here and I'm doing, 18-hour days, and you're coming at me about a word I stuttered? Like,
Yeah.
that was just mind blown to me. So I literally I turned it off. It's very sad though. It's very sad, because my very first event that I finally got on stage. I hustled my way there. I got it, and I couldn't sell tickets for nobody came. Nobody. Like, my partner and my mom's goddaughter came, who was like 12, because she thought I was cool. And I bought those 2 tickets. And my friend Lily, who just logged on. That is the only 3 people that came, and the whole room was strangers. So I'm hosting, I'm emceeing, and I get off stage. And as soon as I get off stage, like, a radio personality is there. She's like, I need you on my show. And I was like, thank you, God. Because at this point, I thought, I'm here, I'm doing this. Nobody that I know is here. These strangers are clapping. Am I even right? And I kid you not, I get off stage, and it's, hey, can you be on my show next week? And I was like, okay. There's
Manifestation.
something here, right? I'm
Yes,
doing
yes,
something.
yes.
It's working, but it's so hard. It is so hard. Like, you're gonna get destroyed. People won't understand what you're doing. When I dropped the podcast, uh, the first person I told, who was in my circle, I like my very first person, which is why I'm so supportive when people tell me things. Oh well, you need to be an expert to be a podcast. Like, an expert on what? And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, what am I an expert on? So that took me like 6 months to, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And then until one point I was like, F it. You know what? I'm dropping this, and I'm going to do this. And that's that. And it's going to be the best damn podcast in Toronto. And I say
That's
to,
amazing.
right? This is what you have to do. But it's the people that know you are going to be the haters. And then somebody in Abu Dhabi is going to, who's my mentor, love you. Somebody out there, some stranger is going to be like, yeah, you're doing it, and they're just going to clap you on. And which is why I stress, I don't care if I have 100 followers, 500 followers, all this followers nonsense, but the people that I have now that have walked with me are crucial
Yeah,
to my success.
man. The podcast, Nirmala, is Advice from Hannah. Go check it out. It's super dope. It's interesting. You said about the people that we support. Yeah, I love my wife. She probably is the one person who suffers the most from all my ideas, because we've been together for 25 years, and every day I've got like 1,000 ideas. But I figured out my pattern. Okay, I figured out my pattern with her, where the ideas that she thinks is god awful are guaranteed winners. The ones that she's like, oh, this is kind of cool. You try it. I'm like, I'm not even gonna try it because I know. But with the ideas where she's like, this is so crazy. This not. What are you thinking about? I'm all in. Let's go. And then as soon as the traction happens, she hates it so much that she jumps on it full time. And I'm like, yes, we're ready to go. But there's this thing that I struggle with. Like if you watch all the memes and stuff, people talk about like, some folks' advice like operate in silence. You got big ideas, hold it, let your action show people, da da da.
Mhm.
And then there's guys like me on the other side when they're like, look, I'm gonna share my ideas because I know I can't do anything alone.
Yeah.
Anything of value, anything of sustenance, anything of longevity, I'd rather share it and have it flop than hold it and have a secret reveal one day, right?
Mhm.
Where do you fall in that like world of thinking?
Well, with me, I have like 800 ideas going in my head 24/7. So that I choose who I share it with, right? So if I'm sharing my idea with you, 9 out of 10 times, that means I want you in this idea because I feel in my heart that you understand the vision. I'll give you an example. During COVID happened, whatever. I got this idea. I'm like, I want to feed women and children. I'm like, okay, yeah, the hospital's great, but because of how I grew up, I've seen so many battered women that I know that being in lockdown with a monster causes you to leave your home and be exposed to this thing. So
Right.
nonetheless, I called up a friend who owns a vegan restaurant. I said, hey, I want to help you out. Long story short, I ended up fundraising and feeding 136 women twice.
Wow. As they say, wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it was super fun. But that was an idea that was in my head for like 4 weeks. And I went and I called the contact that I wanted to work with and I told her about it. She validated it. And then I took it to the street. So with me, I share, but I share with who I want to work with or who I know will make this pop for me.
Right, right.
I don't just like openly share in that sense because sometimes I'm explaining color to black and white and that just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it's a great way to put it. And what I love about this conversation, and I know I listen to all my morning conversations at least twice during the day to absorb everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
your choice of words is fascinating to me, right? Because I preach all the time. What we use to talk about the things that we do is as important as the things we do.
Mhm.
And the thing that you just explained in 30 seconds, I saw a problem, I contacted a restaurant, put together a plan, fed 160 people twice, and then you finished with it was super fun,
Yeah,
right? Nothing about the process is fun, period, unless it comes from a place where this is who you are. And I talk to people all the time about, look, if you want to find out what your passion is, just list down a bunch of things that make you happy and then focus on things that you'll do, even if there's no money in it. And then what's left is the things that you're really passionate about. And if you can live a life of just doing that without worrying about, the big house and the blings and all this stuff, you're happy,
yeah.
which is for us the ultimate, gift that we look for, with no blueprint on how to find it. Man, they got schools and after school programs and education and certificates on everything but how to be happy,
It's true. It's true.
right? What is your relationship with money? Is it a survival mindset? Is it a empowerment tool? What's your relationship with money?
To me, it's taken me a while to get to this answer. I grew up with money being super scarce, and to the point that I thought that, money wasn't for me. Like the way that I grew up, I didn't think like money, I was worthy of money. I was worthy of the lifestyle that I wanted, right? Because I never saw anybody living the way that I want to live or that I'm still striving to live. But now I've gotten to a certain point that I see money as a resource for me to develop the things that I want. So if I see it as so I always get like the feedback, oh, well, you spend too much on this. Why are you spending so much on this? And I look at money as something to, that I use to buy the best quality of things for me to execute accordingly.
Mm,
It's not something that I look at it as like I need it. It's something that I need to make my world better in the view that I wanted, right? Because without the money, I couldn't have fed those women. You understand? So I use it
right.
as a resource to do the things that make me happy. But I've been somebody with $20 in my bank account, super happy, to thousands and super happy. So
Right.
it didn't really add to it. It kind of just enhances the things that I do with it, because at the end of it all, we're all going to leave this world. What's this money going to be? You're going to leave it for your family members to fight over. Oh,
Yeah.
I got left $2 more than you did. This is what I'm seeing right now, as like the entrepreneurs and like the big dogs that I grew up around are now like taking a seat down. All I see is issues with it. Like, why didn't you leave me this? Why didn't you leave me that? And then I see the people that didn't have anything or didn't have this great amount of wealth, and they're settling down, and they're dancing and having cookouts. They're just thinking, they're just doing their thing, right? Like, they're like, oh, whatever, now I don't gotta work, all these hours. I can sit in my house and hang out with my kids, and just dance and be happy. So that's where I'm sitting right now with money. I don't see it as something that I need to chase anymore. I think that's something that I need to use to make things better.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. And I'm on the same path where, the first 15, 20 years of my life, um, we lived poor by design. And when I tell people that, they're like, what do you mean? Well,
Mm,
until my dad passed away and we got access to all of his finance, we didn't realize how wealthy he was. But to become wealthy for the rainy day, do literally work 7 hours a day, 20 hours a day, right? Because he's like, look, 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, because he was always planning for the worst case scenario.
mm,
But, success is one of the things like, and I'm an example of that, meaning so much of my success came from the decision not to fail. When I tell people, they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I wanted to not fail the school so badly that I ended up getting 90s. But I didn't go into it saying I'm going to get 90s in school. I wanted to not get 49. But I worked so hard not to get 49, the result was 90s.
mm,
And so I got that from my dad, where he wanted to save for the rainy days so much that he was wealthy, but never enjoyed a minute of his life, right?
mm,
And when I look at like, my relationship with money, it took me like the last 10 years to change my framework to go, no, I'm going to do the things I love. And in doing the things I love, I'm going to attract the money I need to continue to do the things I love.
mm.
And so all I really care about is there enough when I need to go access it? If tomorrow is $20 to take my kids out for ice cream or $1,000 to go on a trip with my wife, is it there? And if it's there, because none of us really look at our balance beyond, what we need to plan for. And the faster we lose the day-to-day relationship, the better we focus on the things we love. And like you, I feel like once you sort of start thinking about, what do I want to do with money more than I want it,
Mhm.
you tend to attract more of it than what you thought you would, right? Um, when you were coaching folks, or can I call you a coach? Like, do you think of yourself a coach? Like when you talk about advice,
I
let
don't
me,
know.
what's the line? Where do you play?
You know what? I look at myself more as a mentor. However, I get called coach all the time. So now I'm kind of just embracing it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am. Maybe I've been saying
Mm,
no, 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 and maybe that's the thing that I meant to do, because I'm super nurturing, and I have like this radar now that I could just send a message. I'm like, you're not good. What's happening? And then I get, bleh. I'm like, really? This is what's wrong? And I say two, three things, and they're like, oh my God, this is great. I'm like, great, 10 minutes. Okay, bye. Get off my line. So,
wow.
you just feel it, right? So I feel like maybe I am a coach in a sense, but I haven't fully walked into it because I see so many different coaches of everything, like eyebrow coach, for crying out loud. So I
Yeah,
went
yeah,
through
yeah,
that the
yeah.
other day, that I feel like the term is overused. But
Right.
you could call me coach. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Awesome.
Coming
I like
from
calling you coach. So we'll continue the second half of the show as coach. This week, so for those of you that are just joining me for the very first time, or the folks that are regularly watching this 9 a.m. thing, I started it because I started working on a book. And the first half of the book was easy to write because it's about my professional life, the
Mhm,
companies I've started, my startups, all that kind of stuff. And then the second half got into like how I feel and how I think and the
mhm,
deeper stuff. And the book started when I had a cancer scare, and I was like,
mhm,
man, my pops died at 60. So in my head, that's a real number. Like the first person I knew in my life that passed away was my dad, and
mhm,
so 60 is a real number. So I was like, well, if something happens to me, how do I give my kids some of my voice, right? And so I started writing this book simply to be like, look, if the 30-year-old Layla is like struggling, daddy's voice is in the book. The 20-year-old Shaq is stuck. But then when I got to the me part, I was like, I don't know how to pull it out because I'm not a writer. I still have a lot of, learning disabilities from back in the days where I just don't construct things the way normal people do. So I was like, let me just start talking to people. And then every week I pick a topic. Then I bring friends on to help me bring it out of me and also bring some really cool, fresh thinking to it. So this week's topic is all about our self-imposed traps. And we don't understand it. And for me, a trap is different than sort of like, life throwing you stuff, right? Like life situations is life situations. If you're born, in a family that's not well off, you have to deal with it, or etc. But traps for me are things that we create for ourselves. These quicksands that we create that we don't consciously even know we're creating it. And then we get into these quicksands and you can't get out of it. And the more you struggle, the faster you're going to go down. If you stay calm, you're still going to go down slowly, and you need somebody else to help you pull you out. That means you got to reach out and ask for help, right? Which is something that nobody is taught how to do. How do you actually ask for help? Put your ego aside. So when you are working with friends and folks that are asking for help, what are some of the things you notice in that trap mindset? How do we get into some of these financial traps, relationship traps, addiction traps, overwork, obsessiveness traps? And then when somebody is like looking for cues to go, man, I'm in trouble. What does that look like? Maybe we just dive into it a tiny bit.
Well, you know what? I do and I'm famous for is I just let them talk. I
Okay.
literally just I let somebody talk. Like sometimes I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, a young man hit me up on DM. He goes, "Hey, I like what you do, mama. I'm like, okay. I stopped him. I'm like, let's hop on a call. I feel like you have something to tell me. So after they stopped talking about this is what I do for work, my girlfriend this, my wife that, na na na. After all of that is done, I'm like, okay, so what do you want to do? Oh, well, I was thinking about a promotion. Like, no, what do you want to do? Like, what's that thing that's inside of you that you want to do? With me, to have my own TV show. I say it till the cows come home now. Before I'd be like, I want my own TV show. I don't, I wouldn't even say it standing in my power, right? So
So good.
the the idea that we're selling ourselves, right? So this young man in particular, he wants to be a writer, wants to write for magazine publications, etc. So I said to him, okay, well, why don't you start writing and pitching and sending it to the emails, right? With me, if the button works, you can apply. It's very simple. If the button works, I apply. I apply to stuff I'm not qualified for all the damn time. It doesn't mean anything to me because at least I know it'll be seen. And if something else can pop off from it, then great. If not, then you know what? At least now I've had a conversation with somebody that I can maybe pull later on in life and we might cross rooms, years from now, right? So
Literally take the action. Literally take the action.
just do
I
it. Just
love that.
just go, right? So it's always that story that we tell ourselves, right? Like that's what kind of stops us. With me, it's a story. I hear it all the time. Oh, well, growing up, I didn't have anybody believe in me. Oh, growing up, I saw my mom work 3 jobs. This is me. I saw my mom work 3 jobs to keep the light on, food in my stomach, shoes on my feet, right? So I could tell myself these stories all the time. So now that we're adults, we're sitting here in these rooms and I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if they know that I used to struggle to buy shoes, right? So now you're telling yourself this story, and when you sit there to talk, you're not confident. You're not confident because
Mm.
now you're sitting there and you're like, I'm like, oh man, it's the girl that would sit on parquet floors on Weston Road and watch TV. What is the story that I'm telling myself? So we always tell each ourselves that story. So he was telling that story was, I need to be a full-time broke writer for me to pop. I need to leave my job and dive into writing. So I said to him, I'm like, what do you do when you get home from work? Oh, I play video games. Nah, my phone. Okay, take an hour of that time and write.
Mm.
I don't care what you're writing about. Write about your damn day. How the sky is green and the grass is blue. See what I just did? Just write about that and do that every single day. And in a month from now, you're going to have a couple pieces that you can pitch. Literally last Friday, I woke up and I checked my DMs, and at 2 a.m. I have, hi, Miss Hannah, look at my publication. Look where I got published. I was like, I was like, oh my God. My husband's like, what happened? I was like, he got a publication. He's like, oh man, no, never mind. Like, I'm not even trying to explain this to you right now.
It's like, Hannah, it's 2 a.m.
He's like,
You're
what's
doing the
wrong?
dabs.
Why are you doing the dabs? He just doesn't get it.
Oh Oh, I love how you're infected by these stories, man. You
Oh,
know?
they fuel me. They fuel me so much. Like, and I'm just like, okay, let's go. I'm like, fourth quarter 2020. I'm like, what are we gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna get another one. I'm like, yeah, you go out there, right? And I could not talk to him for 2, 3 months, but now he knows that my expectation is I want you to get another publication. Don't come talk to me till you do that, right? So that's kind of what I do. I listen to them, but there's that story that we tell each other. Oh, I struggled to get this. Oh, my relationship was like this. Oh, money doesn't come to me. Oh, why do I have to? I have a problem with that. We have to work so hard for the things that I have a serious problem with that, because I don't think that we continuously have to prove ourselves when we're dope already. Like, this is what I do. This is what I'm doing.
Just say that again,
Yeah.
please.
You don't have to prove that you're dope all the time. You don't stop. I'm dope with it. I have talent. Stats, you have talent. We could be in the same room and we already know just by looking at each other that we have talent. That should be suffice for you to get the opportunities that you want. If you have to constantly prove yourself over and over again, it may be satisfactory for you, but it's gonna drain you inside.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God, you're gonna go left. Now I'm at a point now in this like online world that I created that I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna, this is
Yeah.
what I do. You want to know what I do? There's 75 episodes, and I don't even know how many interviews out there of me. Go check it out. Go, peep my stuff. And then if you want to work with me, but I no longer feel like I have to, or nor should you prove yourself to somebody over and over again. Prove it to yourself that you're dope, and just keep doing your work.
Go with it. Go with it. So, this is a real story, and I can't say who yet because the
Mm,
person is trying to figure it out.
yeah.
And it's timely that you and I are talking because I literally was like, who can I share this young person with? Because I can only do so much, but I don't go down the path that you're already on because I'm still trying to answer who am I and what do
Yeah.
I want to become, right? But if somebody's struggling to even like figure out what to do. They're at the bottom of the stairs.
Mhm.
They know at the bottom of the stairs. They're ready for change. They're ready for intervention. They're ready. They just don't know what to do as the first step. And Hannah is not in the radar yet. They don't even know you. How do you start from zero? Like, what is that first step you can do when you now realize enough is enough? I'm tired of living the way I'm living or struggling or whatever it is, but I want to take that first step. Don't know what to do.
You have to tell yourself that you're worth it, that you're worthy of that first step. There's so many channels of self-care this and bubble baths that and all this stuff. And really and truly, if you don't feel like you're worth it, you're not going to go anywhere. So my very first step is figuring that I'm worth it. I'm worth the life that I want to live. I'm worthy of, in my case, the lights, camera, action. I'm worthy of the interactions. I'm worthy of it. Because if you don't think you're worth it, you can be at the top of your game. You could get to wherever you need to get. But if you don't think you're worth it, it's like you're in the first step already, right? So you have to
Right.
feel, to me, it's super important that you feel like I'm worthy of the change that I want. I'm worthy of the life. Doesn't matter what your third grade teacher said. Doesn't matter what your parents would say to you growing up. It's that you're worth what you want and you're worth that vision of yourself. And you have to pick him or her or whatever, she, he, they, there, whatever it is that you identify yourself with. You have to pick that person every single day. I don't care how bad it hurts. Sometimes I have to pick myself, and it's not fucking fun. Oops, sore. It is
Mm.
not. It
So
is not. It's not fun picking me every single day. Sometimes I have to make really hard decisions of, hey, I'm sorry, I can't hop on this call with you. I can't stay on the Zoom party. I can't go to this special event. I have things that I have to do to get to where I need to get to. And I'm very sorry that I can't be there for you right now, but I have to pick me. And that's
right.
a hard thing to do. But if you don't pick me, nobody else is gonna pick you. Nobody.
Yep.
Nobody. You're
I
gonna sit there
love
all
what you
day.
said. Yeah, I love what you said, man. And that realization clicked in when I was 15 and changed my life. And the first early cracks of my like blueprint life that I didn't belong in was that thought to go, hey, before I can live with mom and dad and be a good brother and a good sibling or a good student, I gotta be just a good Satish. And like, who am I and how do I live with myself? And then if I can't start that process, then I'm useless to everybody else. And like you know, I look at like my purpose in life is to help as many different people as possible to get over their own historical version of themselves. Your past is not your future. Your past is not an indication of who you are going to become. It simply got you this far. And you can 100% rewrite every new page from a new perspective and a new story. So I love how you like pull that together.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I want to share with you that I was in college for 6 years total. So I did a 2-year program and a 4-year program. So I was there for 6 years. I worked full time the whole entire time. And I failed microeconomics 7 times, bro. 7 times. Who fails something 7 times? Every single time I was there, for 2 years and then 4 years. And I failed it 7 times. I could tell you how many times I took this course.
Yeah.
And literally, it took me to the point, at one point, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm not meant to get this degree. I don't even know what the math class. I still don't get it. But I literally failed it the very last time, and I was just fed up. It was over. I had finished every other credit, and that was the only thing missing. And I went to the dean and I said, listen, this class is not for me. It's not your teaching skills. I just don't comprehend what's happening. I've gone through the ringer to just get this paper for my mom so she could be a happy human being about everything that she's done in this country. Give me one test and I will get you a 65. And that is
Wow.
literally, give me one test. I'm like, I need 2 things. One, you can let me write it. And 2, I need to bring my mom with me. I need to have my mom sitting next to me. She doesn't know what microeconomics is. She's not going to give me answers. I just need my mom there. And literally, that was the first time my mom had taken me to school since I was in the 5th grade.
Wow.
20-something-year-old kid. And my mom
Jeez.
literally took me to school and sat next to me while I wrote this exam. So that was, I'm telling you, I don't know why I want to say this, but that was me fed up at failing something 7 times. That's $400 times 7.
Yeah.
Just look at that the amount of money that I spent just to get that validation and just to get that, okay, I finally did this. And I wasn't even on the graduation list. I literally,
Wow.
somebody wrote it in pen. That is literally how I've been able to like scramble through half of the things that I do. And it's not easy, but the picture, my mom, ecstatic. Because you know how immigrant parents are. They tell everybody that you're graduating and people bought tickets. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Wow.
can I just fake graduate? No. But just to give me some pink paper at this point. I don't care. Please, I'll talk to the president. I'm scared.
That's amazing.
But, I'm saying this because you picking yourself and doing all the things that you want to do, you're going to fail. It's not going to be pretty. Like, it's not, there's things that I wanted to do that have failed miserably. And they didn't even, like, have a spin-off for the podcast that's been sitting in my head for the last 3 years. I haven't been able to find somebody to do the cover I want. And that's the only reason why I haven't done it. I haven't found an artist to do the cover that's in my head. So, that alone it could be a failure for somebody, but I'm still choosing me and I'm still choosing the creative person in me that's going to happen. So just choose you. It doesn't matter what everybody else is saying. If you see a vision of yourself, that person in your head, oh, they're real. They're so real.
Man, I love that, man. And I'm gonna drop it to the universe. I've never said it out loud in like an open forum. I've said it to my friends and stuff. But I'm like, when I get to 50, I'm running for mayor. For
I can
me,
do it.
that's like the ultimate place. And when I talk to some friends, they're like, bro, but the real influence is the guy advising the mayor. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I want to be the mayor. Do you know the minute I landed in this country, this is 1989, and I'm in a car getting to Scarborough and I'm on the highway and I've never been on a highway before in my entire life coming from Singapore. And I remember looking to my left and seeing the CN Tower and that whole little like pocket. And I was like, man, one day I'm gonna figure out how to be at the top of the city. And and the first time we did the show, they see Fest at Young Dundas Square, and there was like 100,000 people there. I'm like, is this really happening? This is crazy. And then in my head, I'm like, well, remember that childhood dream you had in 1989 when you're 15 years old? Why not? And that became a point of like opportunity in my head 10 years ago. I don't know how it's gonna happen, uh, but I feel like that's my next thing. That's my ultimate giving role, that I'm hoping that could happen in my 50s, and I'm working towards it and finding the confidence and etc. And see what happens, man.
Dude, let's go. let's go. Like, let's light up Toronto on fire. If you want to be mayor, you're gonna be mayor. The end. Like, I don't
Yeah,
even know what
man.
you have to do, but just what do we? Where is there an application? Just fill it out. Occupation to be mayor. Like, let's
That's
go.
my campaign, Balla for balance. It's gonna be on every lawn, every car, every sticker, every button. I don't know. It's you manifest it and see what happens.
I'm
And,
gonna
and I
hold you
think
to
like
it.
you, I'm telling you, I think for me, like what you said with your mom, the reason I mentioned this, finally had the guts to speak out loud, is for me, like I've been a underdog in my family from the day I was born because the blueprint that was provided wasn't what they thought I would follow. So for me, the ultimate like thank you back would be to go, man, of all of the sacrifices, we didn't just come to this country, we're part of this country now. And for me, being a mayor or an MP or whatever that thing is, and being part of the Canadian history books is like probably the greatest thank you I can give back. And I want to try to make it happen. Even if there's like a contest that says, hey, apply to be a mayor for the day, I would sign up just to be like, I was mayor for a day. Parents,
No,
shout out.
no, not even. You're gonna be mayor for the four. How long is it? The 4 years? I'm calling you mayor. Moving forward, like this is after the time mayor. Like, no, this is what you want to do. Then go for it. When you said it, I literally saw it. Like I saw it. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, cool. Like I didn't even flinch. I didn't even
Yeah,
flinch. It
I love
wasn't
that,
even.
man.
So go for it. Go for it. I'll be there. I'll hold the thing.
Yes. The campaign starts in a year, so friends, please stay connected. No donations needed, just a bunch of awesome souls. Let's talk
Yeah.
about routines, man, because you made a comment on one of your posts. I'm probably gonna mess it up, but it was
You
something
don't
to
worry
the
about it.
effect of create routines and discipline, right? If you don't have motivation. So, what are some of the routines that you've now created for yourself that enables you to be at the best possible emotional, physical, mental state to do what you do?
Oh man, I'm consistent. Consistency is like balance for me. I time block. I'm huge on time blocking. So if I my like work day typically starts at 8 a.m. So I know that if I wake up at 6, from 6 to 7:45 now because I'm working remote, I have time to work on the brand. So I literally wake up and I only specifically work on that one task. So if I'm taping a podcast, I'm taping a podcast. The world can be ending, and it has been, and I'm here taping my podcast, right? So time blocking has been everything for me because I take the 24 hours in a day, and you can probably see my brain going, and I time block. Okay, from 7 to 8, I'm doing this. From 8:15 to 8:30, I'm hanging out here. I'm making a phone call at 8:45 to 9. I don't care if this person's not done at 9. At 9 o'clock, I'm done. So, and it's just time blocking my time and sticking to it, and feeling that I'm valuable enough to give myself that time to succeed in whichever area that is. So time blocking has been huge for me. I have a whiteboard, I write down my goals, and that is it. And if for some reason I can't complete it, I'm okay. I don't beat myself up about it anymore. I'm like, you know what? It wasn't meant to happen. And then I erase it. And then the next day I try. And that's the first thing on my list. That's what I block off in the morning.
Right.
So
That's amazing.
time
That's
blocking, it
amazing.
works.
Last question. Um, balance. What does that word mean to you? What did it mean before, and has it changed?
Oh, it definitely changed. It has changed forever. Before I thought that for some reason, balance is me showing up at every single area 150% on all of them, on all four fronts. So it's business, it's brand, it's family wide. Like I have to be 150% in all of them. Now, balance to me is me being balanced.
Woo! Yes.
Yeah, it's me being balanced, and I'm balanced. Am I nurtured enough? Did I have enough sleep? Am I completing my goals? I change it back to me. And I know sometimes, I get the, oh, well, you're so selfish and all of this, like, I get these things. But if I'm not balanced, guess what? Nobody else is balanced because I can't
Yeah.
balance you if I'm not balanced. So that's what it needs to be now. It's being balanced on myself. So that's like mind, spirit, body, soul. So like if all these things are balanced, and I could go in and out of the different pockets of areas of life that I'm needed into and not drain myself to the point of exhaustion, right? So
Exactly, man. I
mhm.
love what you just said. And for those people that are like, no, I'm all in, I'm obsessed. It's obsessive or nothing. And I say that, and I say, look,
Mm.
you could be obsessed, to use your analogy, or use your routine in your time block. Be obsessed about what you're doing for that hour, but during the day, find the balance that allows you to be at your best. And that's the secret sauce that, I'm learning, and I've learned. And to your point, don't be hard on yourself when you don't achieve the goals,
Yeah.
especially when you wake up every morning grateful that you have another day to work on the things that balance you, on the things that make you obsessed, and the things that make you happy and feel gratitude. Hannah, this has been incredible kickoff to a great week. I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk this morning, and thank you for making some time for me, man.
Anytime. Stats for mayor. Like that's the
Yes.
goal, man. If you don't sign up, I'm gonna be so upset. I'm gonna find
Listen,
out.
episode 26 is gonna manifest.
Let's
Tell
go.
them from your own voice where to find you, how to get in touch with you, and more importantly, how to break through to get to you. If somebody really needs your help, what's the best way to get your help?
So thank you so much for actually having me on, man. I'm super humbled. Like, I think you're so cool, and like I'm probably gonna watch this again. But if you want to get in touch with me, hit me up on Advice from Hannah. So it's linked right up here. That's my bio. The podcast, actually, no, YouTube interview is linked in my bio right now. But check that out too if you want to. But you can find me on all major podcasting recording platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. The Advice from Hannah show. Hit me up. I have about 70 something episodes. If you really want to talk with me, I suggest to look through the library of episodes and see if the subject that you want to talk to me about I've covered. If I haven't, hit me up.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Have
You're
an
welcome.
incredible day. I'll hit you on DM. Please let me DM and be like, oh, not until you're mayor, I don't take your calls. I'm just kidding.
No, dude, I'm so excited for the fact that when season 3 or 4, I'm gonna have the mayor on my show. Like, I'm already there.
I love
No,
you
no.
for it, man. Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.